For everybody here, Ashutosh is a fairly well-known person in the ecosystem. Ashutosh currently is the founding member at DS Center for Entrepreneurship, which is a part of IIT Delhi's Foundation for Innovation and Technology Transfer. And in the past, he's been with PhD CCI. He's been with T Hub. He's also been uh, a major part of other organizations. So I'd probably move it on to Ashutosh now and ask him to introduce himself and get started with the session.
Thank you for your kind words, and good morning, everyone. And yeah, thanks for gathering on weekend morning. Like Anchal mentioned in the introduction, I had the opportunity of going to a small town engineering school in Odisha. This was in 2005 to 2009. I majored in electronics and telecommunication engineering. And yeah, coming from a humble background, obviously we had big ambitions and big dreams. So trying to figure out, and that was still the 2G era. The world hadn't seen 3G and 4G. We were still on 56 kbps modems and trying to tinker with hardware and educating ourselves through the internet. And it wasn't as widely available as it is today. Thanks to a couple of grants that we could avail, we won a lot of college level competitions, particularly in robotics and coding, that sort of gave us the seed grant to build products. We received generous support from Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, MSME, and our college incubator as well. And that time it was KIT TBI in Bhubaneswar. And after that, the first angel investment was in the team. I made an exit, but the first investment was done by Indian Angel Network, then follow-on investments by SAF Partner, which is now Elevation Capital. And then like we have in India, the India Post. In Germany, you have something called as Deutsche Post, became major partners and investors. And last year, it was valued somewhere around $600 million, with Microsoft leading a $100 million round. So it shows possibly what a small support can, do to a team which wants to create a big impact on this planet. So maybe in the next 4 months or 6 months, you would see a unicorn coming out of then called Robotic Wares. Now it's called FarEye. And it's one of the top 5 logistic tech companies anywhere in the world. At this point in time, I am the founding member of the Center for Entrepreneurship in partnership with IIT Delhi and the DS Group. The center has been envisioned as a place to provide support to startups to become scale-ups, to accelerate their journey, take them to the global stage. But here we are gathering to talk about a totally different subject, that is grant funding and other support schemes. And why do we actually need funds? So when we were in college, we started building products. We were still in our hostel rooms. And of course, you need little money to build a prototype, but then there, especially if you're tinkering with something in hardware, you might need more money than you expected, possibly for product development, for maybe testing, to maybe hire a couple of people, even on part-time basis or as freelancers. You need some raw material, you need to pay your CA or CS or lawyer. If you are in a space where some regulatory approval is to be required, if you want to file a patent or a trademark, or if you want to just go online and get early customers, you would need some money. We have different stages of startup where we need money. We need money at the ideation stage as well as validation, early traction, and scaling. And a lot of non-conventional source of, let's say, the funding is available in each of these categories. So this is a common misconception that such kind of support is only available to idea state startups or pre-MVP state startups. No, I mean, we do have support schemes and frameworks and structure for startups in each one of these categories, even if it's a idea stage or a scale up. Why grants should be your preferred, or I mean, the first go you should consider grants is because there's no component of risk. It's like a happy birthday gift, just like your mom and dad uh, give you every year. You don't ever have to repay this back. There is no collateral involved. There is no pressure for repayments. There is no interference from the grant supporting agency in terms of how you should be running your business or structuring your business. Of course, need this to say never have to return this. Where and how this money is coming from the government of India, from the state governments, from various corporates who host different challenges with their CSR budgets, or I mean the marketing budgets, and any other private entity can also think of, sponsoring a grant challenge. Grants, who can avail it? Grants can be availed by students, individual innovators who are not students, recognized startups and MSMEs, of course, incubators and accelerators, and if you're a women, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, or other backward caste candidate, if you identify as one, there are special categories and privileges that you can avail. But then one scheme I would want to pay extra attention to is the Nidhi EIR scheme. This is from Department of Science and Technology. And this is like a monthly stipend of around 30,000 rupees for a year while you are still trying to crystallize your idea, right? And so the government is actually paying you to think and build a plan for yourself. People who are talented, who are actually trying to figure out, and they have an idea but they haven't yet built an MVP, or they haven't just made a business plan, they're still figuring out, they can avail the entrepreneurship in residence subsistence grant from Department of Science and Technology or the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Yeah, mentors can refine the idea, they can help vet the business plan, help them create a strategy during this 12 months. They can get access to plug and play co-working facilities, access to workshops, conferences, meetups. And so far, more than 221 people, this is last year's data. Then what happens when you have an idea? Now your idea is crystallized, you know exactly what you've got to do. Now you need to build a prototype. And this is where possibly if your friends and family members are not generous enough, you might hit a roadblock. So the government will again come into play here, and they'll act angels, Santa Claus, and they'll give you around 10 lakh rupees to build that prototype. It helps if there is a hardware component, but then we have seen that a lot of startups who are not into the hardware space or not into manufacturing, they have also been able to avail this if they're able to justify the value addition that they're doing. So this cannot be used to just build an Shopify business or pure.com business where there is very little value addition. So if you're just trying to build a website and aggregate things, possibly this is not the best grant for you. But then if you're doing something innovative, if you have a product, a physical product, or a hardware, or a mix of both, I mean, you can be assured that this grant will take care of your requirements of funding at this point in time. Then again, around 322 startups have benefited, and there are around 31 centers all across India where you can go and avail this. A lot of application process has already been made online, so you don't actually need to visit. And just in case you want to go there and speak to people, I encourage you should be doing that. So what you can use this money for? You can use it for design, engineering. You can make payments to consultants, experts. You can buy raw material, consumable spares. You can even use it for business travel. Use this money to file a patent. This cannot be used to pay the rentals to the TBI or the incubator. This cannot be used to make any loan repayments, which the commitment of which was made earlier. It cannot be used to pay rent or own accommodation or any infrastructure that you might have. Ideally, this fund should be used for prototype development, and you are supposed to uh, show the fund utilization by providing bills and invoices of whatever expenditure you have incurred. These are some of the most important schemes which I would encourage you to Google. The Department of Science and Technology, the AIR, the subsistence grant or the fellowship is giving you around 30,000 rupees per month for 12 months. You should also take a look at the DST BIRAC SIIP fellowship of 50,000 per month for 18 months plus 5 lakhs in Kickstart grant. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology TIDE 2.0 AIR grant will give you 4 lakhs per startup for 12 months. The TIDE 2.0 grant will give you 7 lakhs per startup for 12 months for prototype development. Nidhi Prayas gives you prototyping grant of around 10 lakhs for 12 months. This is again for prototype development. BIRAC has a BIG scheme where the grant in aid up to 50 lakhs for 18 months is provided. This is again one of my favorite schemes, particularly startups in healthcare, health tech, medtech, biomedical devices, or agri-tech can benefit from the BIRAC BIG scheme. Then you have BIRAC BIG NER of 25 lakhs for 24 months. ASIM support to scheduled caste entrepreneurs to 30 lakh for a period of 3 years, and MSME grants of 15 lakh for 12 months. And then seed and leap fund different agencies, BIRAC, NSTDB, Invent, TDB. So all of this can range from around 5 lakh rupees to 50 lakh rupees. Paddy burning is a big problem, and you can avail grants from Department of Science and Technology as well as from Department of Biotechnology. The BIRAC Sparsh grant or the BIRAC Big grant is ideal for you. Again, Ministry of Agriculture has a grant called RVKY Raftar, Rashtriya Kisan Vikas Yojana. If you just Google, Rashtriya Kisan Vikas Yojana, Raftar is the name of the scheme, RAFTAAR. You can get around 25 lakh rupees to get started. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for having me with you today. Look forward to interacting with you. Bye-bye.
Great.